Guys, here is a little update from August in CB's life. Let's go. So essentially, my partner and I, we broke up in July. Oh yeah, and then we got back together. So super handy. I definitely wanted to as well because goddamn, I love that woman. And our old relationship died, which was fantastic, meaning that old versions of me had to die. Old versions of her had to die. And it's very interesting what we've learned in regards to, especially with personal development coaching and everything else. It's like, okay, they had to die for a certain reason. Can we let them go? And how do we not bring those parts with us? And it's been very interesting in regards to someone who, really tries to commit to purpose and commits to being the best version of themselves, of how in real time and in real moments, when reactivity comes up, when disagreements come up, when something comes up and we just solve it. And it's so interesting that it always comes down to just have this like mind-blowing moment consistently, regularly, like this keeps coming up, of going, every time something that is happening that creates a struggle in your life comes down to, 100% just comes down to something you have to heal in here and in here. Like everything. I feel like every single business block, relationship block, it's like, oh wow, there's this unconscious part of myself that I haven't integrated yet. I've got to go find that. So this past month, I have been finding so many unintegrated parts of myself, things that have been unconscious, and it's just been like one thing after the next, which is absolutely nuts. And I really think breakups are the catalysts of growth. Like my biggest growth, like when I created Set the Standard, was around a breakup. I was like, I did a business course, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to create a podcast. I'm going to create these courses. All this energy come out. And it was just me focusing on myself. And, we had like 4 weeks apart, something like that. So I was investing in counseling. I got an energy healer, and I've just been learning so much. And it's just been like, wow, like I was already learning a lot. But this whole integration embodiment piece is insane because we teach this at the next level. So we teach people how to embody, and I've gone through different embodiment practices before. And then it's noticing like, as well, like no matter how much work you've done, there's more to do. Like there's so much more, but it will come in seasons. And it's like, cool, I'm at a season right now where I want to practice and really embody all of this embodiment stuff so that I can be a stronger leader, that I don't have to react as much, and I can think calmer and clearer and attract more abundance into my life, which is insane, right? So here's what I've learned in this process. One, I have more mother wounds than what I thought. So I've done so much mum stuff before, in like inner child healing, all the rest of that. And I teach it. We teach it in Set the Standard community. And I've done some crazy things to heal that, had some wild conversations. Like I remember writing my mum a letter of like everything that essentially, it was like a breakup with my mum. I was like, if you don't read these and can't get through this, then I don't know how I'm going to love you. Like I won't be able to do that. And she read it like a champ, and we had these crazy conversations, and I really wanted to break the bond between her seeing me as a son and her seeing me as another male. Because I'm like 26, 27 years old right now. Like you can't be talking to me like this. We had this huge conversation around it, and it was actually insane, and she took it so well, and it was one of the best conversations ever. And we've continually had conversations and talked about stuff. And then the more that I've dug in, like recently in regards to the relationship, because a relationship is going to show like all of the bad things about yourself, and it's supposed to, right? And you're supposed to be able to, because you love someone, I find that you're supposed to find those bad things about each other and work on them for yourself, like by yourself, but you're doing it together. And it's like having that safety and trust that like, oh, this person's supposed to bring up all the shadows and all the unhealed things in me, and I'm going to be reactive, and I'm going to be messy, and I'm going to be unconscious, and I'm going to get disassociated, I'm going to be avoidant, and however way, you come up with it. And they're going to love you even in the process that even though that happens, they're still going to love you, and you're going to integrate it. And they trust that like, oh, I'm going to integrate this stuff. So that's been absolutely insane. Also started working out like way harder. I was already working out super hard, and I was like, well, this is fantastic. Right? It's crazy when you think a relationship is bad, especially when it's breaking. Most of the time it's going to be the best thing that's happened for you, like for both of you, especially in the relationship too. So we really had a good mindset switch of being like, this whole thing is happening for us. And it was really awesome, looking at like my partner Chloe's intuition in regards to like, this has to happen, right? Where I have to see this through, and we have to do this, so that I could be like, oh, this is so good. This is definitely the mirror that we've needed to get to the next level of not just our relationship, but our life as well. Like it's because it's interwoven in like your future, which is just, it's really cool. So I get envious when other people win. I didn't even realize this. There's a part of me that's like, that's still, even though I'm like, I pride myself in celebrating people, there's still a part of me that would like get envious. It's like unhealed part of myself that was there. It's like I've done so much work on that recently, and being like, it's really interesting when you do the work to unheal envy, you go, well, not unheal, to heal envy and to remove it actually being there. It's very interesting how much more calm you feel all the time. It's kind of uncomfortable how calm you feel. Like it's really weird. I know it'll come up again at some point, some way, shape and form, but for the moment it's like, this is really cool and very at peace that I've unhealed this thing inside of me, because essentially envy is like, it's like, there's this really good description of it and I can't remember it right now, but something along the lines of, it's like you're buying into someone else's future and dreams, and it's like, and you're not living, it's like someone else is living the dreams that you're not allowing yourself to live. That's like the description. And it's like, okay, if you allow yourself to live your dreams and chase them, then it's completely fine, because you're merging your path with someone else's and not being 100% like dedicated to your own. So it's when you shift that and you go, oh, I'm just going to work on my own and follow my own purpose and get clearer and more like have more vision on that. That's when you get it. So that was an insane lesson for me. I would disassociate when people give to me. I didn't even realize I did this. So even when it's compliments or someone's teaching me or someone's like, actually giving me a gift or talking to me really well, so I'll be in a conversation with them and then my mind starts thinking about, oh, something else the other day, and oh, this thing and all this. And I kind of freeze up. And I didn't even realize that happened. But it does. I didn't realize how much I disassociated. I'm going to tell you guys, this is nuts, because if you're listening to this and you're like me, and I believe it's like 90% of men do this, every time that you feel that you need to be alone, anytime that you go, oh my God, this is like frustrating, how can you need a change, right? Anytime you go, oh my God, this is not me, like, oh my gosh, or you get really angry and frustrated and you go, I'm not going to say anything. And then you sort of go off on your own and you just think of all these reasons as to why they've pissed you off, something like that, you're disassociating. The second that you feel that you want to go to work, the second that you're like, oh, I just need to go to the gym, the second that you feel that you're like, I'm going to start cleaning or something like that, you've disassociated, which essentially means, because I didn't really know what people meant when they're like, oh, what does it mean by being in your body? Like people say that like, oh, get in your body, like be in your body more, be more present in your body. But for me, I get a little bit confused because I'm like, well, but what does that feel? What's that like? And that is, what that feels like is you're 100% aware of what's going on in your mind when you're talking to someone. And when you notice yourself start disassociating, you go, whoop, let's come back and focus attention on them. This doesn't have to be about me. My emotions and my feelings at the moment don't actually matter, and I can think about them later. But in this moment right here, I'm going to choose to calm down. I'm going to choose to relax, and I'm going to really choose to listen. And I'm going to choose to take all of this in and not be so in my head. And the term in my head actually just means when you're letting thoughts run wild, which is, and you're allowing those thoughts you're starting to drift off into those thoughts. That is disassociating. It's crazy. Like I just go numb, blank face, and I go, yep, huh? Like I do it in like my relationship when, Chloe would call me out on something, and I would say, instead of be like, oh yeah, no, that's fine, be like, yep, I get it. Yep, I understand. Yeah, I'll figure that out later. Or I'll do this later. Yep, okay. Yep, makes sense. Okay, good. When I'm in that language, boom, pure disassociation. I was like, oh, I didn't even know I disassociated. What? like that actually blew my brain when I was thinking about that. I had fear around traveling. There's nothing that I learned. I had fear around traveling by myself because I thought my partner would leave me. I was like, oh, Chloe's going to leave me if I go travel by myself, because I have evidence that anytime I did anything on my own in previous relationships, I'd get cheated on. And that was reinforced from this story that I created in my head, because my dad didn't want to travel because his dad traveled and lost all his money. Essentially, he spent all his money traveling. So dad's like, I'm creating a hub at home and safety here that I can control, so I never have to like lose money. And then my mum always wanted to travel, but then she personally spent all of her money so that she couldn't, go traveling, and saving for her was very hard because she has to like give to get attention and approval all the time. Like she's always given to my nephews and given to everyone else. And so that is like my mindset around traveling and being by myself. And every time I've had massive expansions in my business and my life, have come from some sort of travel, where it's local, international, whatever it is. We've done some sort of traveling. It's been like, holy hell, this has been so beneficial for my soul, right? For travel, where I'm doing some form of traveling, and especially when it's by yourself, right? It's by yourself or just with a partner. Or if you're traveling with a partner, you're spending some time on your own so that you can really reflect. And was so interesting that I was like, wow, this is one of the reasons that I couldn't travel. So I had that conversation with Chloe and it like blew my brain, to be honest. I was like, what's going on here? Another one, my dad only has dated women that he can save. And I'm like, Dad, same, bro. Who would have thought? So looking back at every single partner that I've had is like, oh, how can I help this person? How can I save this person? Like they're damaged like me, so if I fix them, I don't have to look at my own shit. That was a crazy lesson I learned about myself. My self-worth comes from huge amounts of needing approval. I knew that from growing up, but not as much as I know it now. So when I'm talking to my team, like the guys on my team, or when I'm talking to friends or my partner or anyone else, I'm always, the moment I'm like, am I seeking for approval here? Like, is this some sort of, how am I making this conversation about me? Do I need to talk about something to gain approval? Can I just listen and ask this person questions and just make it not be about me? Because I'll probably get more out of the conversation if that's the case. Because I'm always making it about me. It's like, I'm trying to get this confirmation about myself, which is false and it's a lie. Like it's not true because you're manipulating people to confirm stories about you and you're not learning about anyone else. And I feel like if you're learning about other people and you're just noticing your thoughts and how you react to them, you're going to learn more about yourself in that situation than trying to make the conversation about you all the time. So I was like, what is going on here? So that was pretty insane. And because of needing for approval, other thing that I learned was I always tend to be a control freak. Like, always, which is why I talk about it in my content a lot at the moment, because I'm like, man, if men remove this control freakness about themselves, like they'd be so much more abundant, so much more purposeful, and so much more happy, right? Because control freak looks like this. If something doesn't go the way that I pictured, I freak out and I try to make everything calm and I manipulate everyone around me to make sure that it does. Because I'm way more comfortable in chaos. So it's like, I'll try to calm everything down and manipulate everything, but that ends up creating chaos in my life because I'm rushing everywhere. I'm too tired to go here. I've tried to squeeze these like 5 things in my routine or in my day when it's like, hey bro, like you only just need to do 2 things in your day. Like 2 to 3 things is like it. Anything else is too much. You're not doing anything well. And you can let that go and do it another day. And I find like that has really increased my productivity, especially over the last like 4 weeks. It's just been absolutely insane. Money blocks come up in the form of self-doubt like this, right? Content blocks, because I create content, get money. Content, nothing I post is even good anyway. Oh, it's not valuable to anyone. Oh, I only got like 1,000 views on that reel. Any of that mindset stuff, just noticing, I'm like, wow, how's this coming up? Like, and it's all coming up from working on myself. And it's interesting because I've worked on it before and it's just resurfacing itself again. And you go, again. And that's what it's like with, the continual practice of working on yourself, right? You never actually stop, because it's when you stop and you stop catching these things is like when you start to lose your power. And that's when it comes and takes over. Sort of like going to the gym, right? If you stop going to the gym, what happens to you? You get really skinny. You lose all your muscle. You put on body fat, right? So when it comes to developing your mind and becoming a great version of yourself, you have to be doing this all the time. And I've noticed this as a great reminder. Messaging blocks. So I'm like, what happens is like, oh, nothing that I say or do resonates with anything. Nothing that I say resonates with anyone or anything. There's no point even saying anything because, what do I even do again? What's this? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that has all come from the triggers that have happened over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And it's like, oh, this has just been an undertone here the whole time. And that's from self-doubt. It's got nothing to do with the actual messaging. It's just because it's like there has previously been no as much strong enough belief and excitement and enthusiasm. And you can show it. Like, everyone's probably watched my content and been like, oh yeah, like Corey's crushing it. He's really consistent and, posts all the time and is enthusiastic. And it's like, you can have all those things, but then behind the scenes be freaking out on a consistent basis and have this undertone of, oh, which I think so many men live with, even women, so many men and women just live with that consistent sort of needing to fight or this panic, which that takes you out of your body, puts you into your head. And we've talked about them beforehand, being extremely present and conscious and aware of what's happening and how you're showing up in the moment. And instead, being in your head thinking, I need to do this, I need to do that, should be doing this, should be doing that, oh, that's not right, that's not this. And so getting out of that and coming back has just been so powerful. And I think, I was having a conversation with a friend. It's like, who do you think is more powerful? The version of you who is asking yourself what you need to be doing all the time, rushing, could be posting on social media all the time, working all the time and thinking oh, I need to do this, got to be working, got to be grinding, or the version of yourself who is so present and aware that's in this moment, right now, what is the best thing for myself that I should be doing, right? And if it's work. And if it's coming up with ideas, it's come up with ideas. If it is going over systems and planning or looking at your life, you do that, and that's what works. And then I think what you'll find is over a week when you're organizing your routine, is like you'll have structure throughout your week that you want to adhere to and do adhere to. But the second that you're in your head and not in your body, the practice is, okay, let's get back into here, because the person in this position is going to be making way better decisions than the person who's in the head all the time, disassociating, right? So I think that's very important. Another one was coaching blocks. So like in my own mind, I'm like, oh, no one I even coach gets any value. Like that, those thoughts are popping up in my head. And I know that's not true, but it doesn't stop the thoughts that come into your mind. You're like, why are these things happening? Like, why is these thoughts coming into your head? And like, it's all come down to, it's the need for approval. It's the emotional fulfillment that I was trying to get out of the, relationship anyway. Because it's like, oh, how can you complete me? How can you fix me? So learning that was just insane, and being able to convert that and switch that over has just been like a game changer, especially recommitting to that again. It's crazy. It's like the work never ends. Oh yeah. So work grind blocks. So this is the thoughts that come up. Self-doubt comes up looking like this. There's no point to messaging anyone. No one can afford anything at the moment. Buying into society is like, oh, like the whole market's like coming down, blah, 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 blah. Buying into that when some people are out there making like $500,000 a day. You know what I mean? So buying into that sort of mindset of being like, oh, there's no point doing this. There's no point doing any work because blah, 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 blah. And noticing that come up. And then being like, okay, so these are thoughts in my mind in terms of doubt that are popping up because I haven't filled this cup up in myself where it's like there's this deserving piece yet. And that was showing up in the relationship all the time. So I was like trying to get like my partner to be like, oh, how can you tell me and confirm to me that I'm deserving of love, right? So the turnaround part of this, like the biggest lesson that noticing that all of these were here is because it's like what I just truly want is to love and feel loved and be loved. And it's just reinforcing the mindset of you. First, you've got to love yourself. What does that look like? It looks like journaling. It looks like talking to friends about it. It looks like saying things out loud to yourself. And it looks like, thinking about it as well. And any time that you have a moment where you're like, oh, you're doubting yourself, it's like, oh, how can I love myself more in this moment? And I think that getting really present in your body and creating space, especially as a man, like I've been taking a lot more, I would say it's not so much downtime, but I'd say a lot more stillness in small moments. Just like while I'm eating, I won't go on my phone. Or I'm making sure that every single day I go for a run, and sometimes I don't listen to anything, and usually I'm like an audiobook addict, so I'm always listening to audiobooks. I'm not going to listen to anything. And then these ideas come to my mind. I'm like, oh, this is what's most important for me, and I feel so much better about myself, and oh my God, I actually am amazing, and I really do love myself, and like, oh, I deserve all of this, and everything that's happening right now is okay. Even if you are stressed, even if you have this bad thought come in, like it's all okay. This is all for you just to feel and experience. And can you be okay with these emotions and show them and not hide yourself from them anyway? And it's very freeing. Like it's so freeing. And then that gives you permission to be yourself in the relationship. And then your partner can actually support you, which is like this opening up piece. It's like, how can men open up? Well, I don't think that's the right question. It's like, how can we give men permission to feel their feelings? Like that. And I believe after doing the past 4 or 6 weeks, men are so much more emotional than women, so much more emotional and sensitive. I feel like women have a better ability to feel their emotions than us, in their brain. But I think men's are so afraid of feeling any sort of emotion because we don't want to feel this discomfort. And for us, it's easier to feel discomfort and pain in our bodies. It's like, oh, I'd rather feel this than have to feel that. So we'll overeat to compensate, or we'll train so hard in the gym, or we'll run, or whatever it is to try to have this pain kind of come around us so we can feel and experience, so that way we can actually feel something, right? So that's what I truly believe, and I think it's so important because it's just reflected in me. I'm like, oh, yep, this is me. I've been scared of this, and holy hell, I can feel, and I'm a really sensitive guy. I'm really in touch with my feelings, and I try to avoid them all the time because feeling them is uncomfortable as hell. So yeah, they all come from needing to be loved. So I've been saying these things to myself. Can you love yourself enough to create space for yourself? Can you do fewer tasks in the week and do more of the fewer is the question. So total, it's like, oh, I've got 1 million things to do this week. Okay, why don't you just pick 2 to 4 things to do during the week and just do them lots. right? Like, what are the things that you just need to do, and do lots of those, because you'll be way more present and you'll actually be able to get creative with them. Recenter and create ideas from being present. We've talked about that. And then just, can you love yourself enough to not stress out and be rushing around all the time? I was like, right, just learning this is just blowing my brain. This is really cool as well. I learned this too. Trauma causes dysregulation, and you can heal the trauma, which stops you from being dysregulated. Yeah. So what that looks like is trauma, some sort of hurt or conditioning that you got from your parents, teachers, peers, partners, and people as well think like, oh, trauma only happens when you're a kid. It's like, no, trauma happened to you like 2 years ago as well. Like, it's just this never-ending pattern of your brain's used to feeling or experiencing something, so then it comes in and it conditions for you for what behaviors you need to show now, what behaviors you need to show in this moment. And the trauma that you feel happens dysregulates you. And if you say, what is dysregulation? Dysregulation is people pleasing, saying yes when you want to say no, feeling guilty, feeling shame, feeling anger, avoiding, detailing. So you're talking way too much about all the little details of something when you just need to like land the plane. It's avoiding eye contact, procrastinating, like all these different things are just when you're dysregulated. It's like when your nervous system feels some sort of charge, it's like, nope, gross. It's like some sort of negative emotion is just dysregulation. Like, that's what it is. And all relationship issues can be solved with good communication, especially when you don't fear about talking about breaking up. Like, I think the past, like since Chloe and I have been in this repair phase, we've talked about breaking up so much more in terms of like, oh, this is why, we broke up, and this is what we want to do to not break up. And if we keep doing this, that's going to lead to another breakup. So just having those conversations, I believe, is one of the most powerful things ever that I've learned in August. That's like, to make sure you can have a healthy relationship. And, it's also hard. What else I learned, it's really hard to have a healthy relationship if you're not committed to your purpose and you're nowhere going to career and you're not like building your best body. Like, either one of those just ruin relationships. I've been going away to Airbnbs a lot more regularly and staying at friends' house for a couple of nights here and there, because time alone with good quality men has just been so beneficial for my mind and for sharpening my purpose and my vision and like making good career decisions. It's been fantastic. I went to a networking event, and usually I'm like getting them like, oh, I can't wait to meet all these people, very in my head. And I approached this with a new intention. I'm like, okay, I just have trust and faith that I'm amazing. I don't need any approval from anyone. And my intention is just to take a back seat, right? I'm just going to take a back seat, but just be completely open. And you'll have more opportunities. And I met some amazing people and opened up some insane opportunities, which is really cool. I completed a second podcast with John Gray. He's the world's leading relationship specialist. And oh my goodness, I learned a lot. And there's a meditation in there that you guys, it's going to blow your brain in terms of listening. What I learned in the meditation is push and pull at the same time. When you're really meditating, it's like he's talking about bringing abundance in and sending abundance out at the same time. When you're sitting there with your eyes closed and you're in a trance, you can do two things at once. It was crazy when we're sending this energy. So I'm just online, like sitting on a computer like this, talking to John Gray, and like my eyes are going glassy. I'm like, whoa, just like through this meditation with a visualization. It was actually insane. So that was awesome. I also facilitated the next level retreat with the intention of letting go. And it was the most seamless, well-run transformational experience we've ever facilitated for men. And the testimonials were insane. So we do we do a shame release, we do an anger release, we've got leadership exercises, we plan out business and do like a commitment to purpose. And throughout that, we do a lot of team bonding and understanding where your triggers are to help you really understand, you, so that when you go back out into the real world, you can make more money, you can make better decisions in career, you can, you'll have a newfound commitment to working out and building a strong body. So like all of that comes out of the retreat. And you just become more successful in every area, especially in regards to career and, building a strong body, which is just insane. And running that was just like mind-blowing. But yeah, overall, I would say August has been one of the best months of my life, 2024, to be honest. Even though it's been challenging, I'd say it's been one of the best months. There've been many hiccups and, I've overcome them all. And it's given me so much more grace and presence, which is a gift of which I could give to you guys immediately. And I hope you do get some of that from listening to this podcast. And I feel like I feel as a man, the last 3 months have been like the most transformational for me in a long time, like personally as a man, because I've done like a lot of reading and understanding so much, but the embodiment piece is like, oh, it's so good that it's here. So what has contributed to that specifically has been these few things. Self-investment, investing in yourself. Oh my goodness. I've invested to myself in the last 2 months more than I have in such a long time. Like just like hardcore investment consistently. Like, oh, triggered, I'm just gonna go see a psychologist right now, and I'll just go and see a psychologist. I'm surrounded by high quality men and women, which has been fantastic. I've been leading men, like so actually leading men as a leader and practicing those skills has been fantastic. The breakup plus doing the work to heal myself and now repairing the relationship has been fantastic. Empowering other people to lead, so that's like taking a back seat. How can I lift other people up? It's been awesome. At any point doing that is so beneficial. Having integrity to follow through with investments and coaching as well, because I know when people join programs or people join something like like Set the Standard, or they'll join a fitness thing, or they'll join a business thing, or they'll join some sort of personal development thing, and then they bail. Like halfway through, people will just bail out and be like, oh, I'm not coming to that, I won't finish this thing, whatever it is. And it's like the investments that I've made, like, cool, let's see these through the whole way to the end, let's get exactly what I want to get out of them. And you know, because most of the gold, I don't want to be that person who's digging the mine, they get 2 feet away from gold and bail out. And I've noticed and I've seen a lot of people do this like recently, and I know people who do, and it's like, well, I'm so happy that I don't. Like, I'm so happy that I commit the whole way through, and that gives me more integrity, it gives me more discipline, it gives me more passion. It makes me feel proud of myself knowing that, like, hey, I can get through, you know, so much, and it feels so good. And it's such an integral part of myself that I've always kept and wanted to keep, you know, which I think is really cool. And then consistently redefining myself. Like, let's redefine me, let's redefine who I am, and getting clear on that, who you are and what you're here to do and serve, and get that super crystal. And that's been it for August. So if you found any benefit out of this, would love to hear from you. Please subscribe, leave a comment below, or share this with a friend, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.